Did you know that the IDF directly trains American ICE agents? Yes, the US and Israel use occupied Palestinian territory as testing grounds for new policing and counterinsurgency methods that later go on to inform US law enforcement. And all of this has never been clearer than what we're seeing with recent ICE raids, specifically the ICE raid last night in Chicago, where they separated families and detained and arrested children, American citizens. Since the early 2000s, U.S. police departments like the NYPD and the LAPD have sent delegations to Israel for counterterrorism training that did eventually get blended into our everyday domestic policing. But this has only gotten worse in recent years with a hyper-militarization of federal agencies like ICE. Programs organized by groups like the ADL, the Jewish Institute for National Security Affairs, and even the Israeli police have brought U.S. border and immigration officers to Israel specifically to train them in the art of urban warfare. They've taught them methods of crowd control, surveillance, warfare-style raids, militarized policing. In fact, the regular use of tear gas, rubber bullets, and sound bombs were actually implemented in Gaza and the West Bank before they ever even came to the U.S. Predictive policing software and facial recognition tools were used on Palestinians as well before they were ever marketed to U.S. agencies. There is a direct pipeline of tactics, technologies, and philosophies of control flowing directly from Israeli occupation to U.S. policing measures. And all of this is so evident by the conduct of ICE agents during their raid in Chicago last night. A heavily militarized federal agency conducted mass simultaneous apartment break-ins, essentially, forcing entry, kicking in doors, and arrested a flurry of non-criminals and U.S. citizens. They used massive levels of excessive force against detainees and then forced them into inhumane detention conditions. They arrested children and separated families. They did this in the middle of the night with no warrants, denying all of these people access to their inalienable rights. And this is exactly what the IDF does to Palestinians in Gaza and the West Bank. Palestinians are arbitrarily arrested in the middle of the night with no charge or trial and are held under administrative detention. Some stay in detention for months without ever seeing the inside of a courtroom, without ever being charged with a crime. And all of that inhumanity that is happening in occupied Palestine is being brought to the U.S. Every single violation of international humanitarian law that Israel gets away with is being brought to the U.S. Israel is the testing ground. Everything that they can get away with to Palestinians is what the U.S. is going to do to people here.